Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I think the uniqueness of the Reggae Girls is they embody the national motto of Jamaica, which is out of many one people. So when you look at the entirety of the Jamaica squad, you have dark-skinned girls, mixed-race girls, girls who have black and Asian in them. You also have the homegrown players, so like your Bunny Shaw, your Konya Plummer, your Den Blackwood. So what that means in terms of from a grassroots perspective is girls who are born in Jamaica can look at a Bunny Shaw and hear that authentic accent and say, you know, if Bunny can make it, then so can I. Once you hear that authenticity, that raw Jamaican accent, they should be able to look at a Bunny Shaw who's now a captain to say, if Bunny can do it, especially if you come from the same community, the same parish as her, if she can do it, then so can we.
I want to give a big bless up to the Reggae girls out there. They ain't believing us. John did. Reggae girls, keep winning, keep inspiring. I know you're going to be great out there. World Cup. Sadella Marley, number love. Bless up from DJ Khaled.
And I'm representing for the Reggae girls. You know what I mean? Big up on yourself every time. Especially if you're qualifying for the World Cup back to back. You know what I mean? Sidela, big up yourself. One love every time. You know the thing go. Blessing off a flow like a river. Blessing off a flow like a river. What the Reggae girls do? Left them name night earth like a queen. Me have to big up the top soccer team. You know Massacre represent. Jamaica support you every time. You know the thing go.
Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I feel like I'm from UK, you know.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Ocean of the Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and best. Davis, take it away.
My Talawers, how are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning, all depends on where you are in the world. Welcome back to another live stream. For a minute there, I'm sounding a little bit echoey. Just have to check my microphone. Let me know how I'm sounding there in the comment section, guys. I sound a little bit off, but maybe it's just me. Maybe I need to tweak a few things my end, but do let me know how I'm sounding in the comment section. Happy Sunday. Let me know how the weekend's been. Let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know what's on the dinner menu. I hope that you guys are all in good health. Even if you're just silently watching along, I do hope that you're all in good health. So tonight, I actually was supposed to be giving you guys a preview into the Jamaica men's senior football team versus Honduras, but I changed my mind pretty last minute, and I was like, okay, there's something more pressing that I want to discuss with you guys, just based off observation, and I guess it's a few things that we've already touched on previous live stream, but I decided that tonight I wanted to do a little bit of a deeper conversation with you guys. If you have anything to say and you want to jump on the live stream, a bit similar to what Warren Webster did on my last live stream, which I believe was on Friday night, then all you have to do is just drop your comment in the comment section, and obviously I will share the link with you. So yes, we're going to be talking about a couple of the biggest names in football. And I've noticed a pattern, as I said, in regards to football at the national level, players pulling out here and there for a number of reasons. You know, some of the reasons we've already discussed is to do with the obvious one: injuries, fitness, personal reasons in terms of not being physically or mentally up to the challenge. To each their own. I know some people, whether you support the Reggae Boys or whether you support France and Mbappé, some people are left scratching their heads. Some fans don't believe, some legends don't believe the excuses. And we're going to be touching on all of that in a short while. Again, do get friendly with the comment section. But before I kickstart the football conversation, I do have to express my congrats, if in case you guys haven't seen this wonderful bit of news that broke maybe some 2+ hours ago. If my maths is correct, it's probably longer than that, to be fair. But congratulations is most certainly in order. This weekend, Olympic and 6-time world champion Noah Lyles proposed to world and Olympic medalist Junelle Bromfield. And you can go ahead and watch the wonderful announcement for yourself. Okay.
Hello, I'm Hansa Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
Best of luck to these soon to be Mr. and Mrs. Lyles. Decided to put that one in there at the start of the show because it is some wonderful news, and it's a good way to break the ice before we get onto the main topic of conversation where the football is concerned. So yes, the headline does read for itself. Janelle and Noah set to tie the knot, and it is a beautiful announcement. If you want to give that one another spin, all you have to do is head over to their respective Instagram page, and you can go ahead and show the both of them some love if you wish to do so. Knock yourself out with that one. So as I said, tonight, football's new norm. That's a question that's really been in the back of my mind for the duration of today, really, and maybe even since yesterday. As I said, I was weighing up the options whether I should give you guys a preview into the Honduras game or whether I should just go ahead and talk about something that's been in the back of my mind for a while now. And I think I've been noticing like this growing reputation where international football is concerned and players pulling out. I think, to be fair, if I look at things in hindsight, with the younger me, I used to kind of look at it, and this was before the congestion of fixtures came into play. So I think once upon a time when I used to see footballers pulling out from international duties, namely players in the Premier League, used to kind of look at it and scratch my head. Never used to believe it, for obvious reason. You probably think the reason why they're doing so is because they want to stay fit for their club, especially when they've got a title charge on their hands, or maybe even chasing the Champions League, or maybe even going for the double or the treble. The younger me would look at it and ask a couple questions, even when, a couple of the things that we've already discussed over the last couple of days, pertaining to players pulling out of international duty, having played the weekend before their respective nations made the squad announcement. Back then, I didn't really look into things as much as I do now in terms of research and trying to put two and two together and try to be fair and observant. But I think I've matured where that is concerned. So I'm saying that to say, definitely, I'm pretty sure you guys would have noticed a couple of the high-profile names there pulling out of international duty or coming into camp for their respective clubs and not starting a game, starting the first match, subsequently going on to play in the second match, or starting the first match and then being pulled out of camp. Number of reasons as to why that's happened. Obviously, fitness being one of them, injuries being the other. And I think above all, I think you're now seeing clubs and the national team there working hand in hand to protect each of their assets. And a few of the assets that I can think of and put to you guys is obviously your Harry Kane with England, Mbappé with France. They're going to be talking much about Mbappé, Kevin De Bruyne with Belgium, Martin Odegaard with Norway, and also Salah with Egypt as well. And I'm just going to brush up in terms of giving you guys those context there, touch on a couple articles that I came across in my build up, in my preparation of putting this live stream together for you guys. Jamrock Rentals, good evening to yourself. I hope you are well. IT Push, IT Samadea, happy to see you in the comment section. IT Push, I hope that you guys there are in good health. If you're just tuning in, I've already given you guys some wonderful bit of news there as it relates to our very own Junelle Bromfield. Yes, she is now engaged to Noah Lyles. So they are set, I should say, it's firmly set to tie the knot. So echoing what I've already stated, best of luck to the both of them, right? And that is for the two guys there in my comment section, Jamrock Rentals and IT Push, or I'm assuming just tuned in. So let's go ahead and look at some articles there with you guys before I press on with the main bit of my conversation. And actually, the bulk of the conversation actually centers around Mbappe. I think on observation. I don't speak French. Been to France before, but unfortunately, I don't speak French. But I'm gathering that their fans are a little bit skeptical of Mbappe in regards to him making himself unavailable for this current international window. A couple of the question marks there that's been asked, or the questions that's been asked by the France supporters, is similar to questions being asked of our very own Leon Bailey. So we're going to touch on a couple of that. Before I do so, let's just look elsewhere in terms of that pattern there that I've recently noticed, in particular as it relates to this current international break. So let's go ahead and see what's the first article there that I could touch on with you guys. I guess it could potentially be in relation to, I think it's Harry Kane. I was reading an article there about Harry Kane. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of the whole Harry Kane situation in terms of his fitness. So again, this, like other live stream, is purely based on context purposes, so we can all stay on the same line, so we can all stay on the same page, and so on. So let me go ahead and bring up this article there. This one is taken from TalkSport. I'm pretty sure you guys can see the article in front of you. It says, the headline, I should say, says, why is Harry Kane not playing against Greece? I'm sure you guys already know the Greece results. Greece be in England. I'm not going to read out the scoreline if I just so happen to have England followers or England supporters listening or down in the comment section. I should think not. I don't really think I have much England supporters, maybe the odd one or two here and there. But nevertheless, the headline said, why is Harry Kane not playing against Greece? England captain out of Nations League match at Wembley. Now, obviously, this game was played some days ago, but again, this is purely for context purpose. Now, the main bit from the article in terms of the main takeaway here says Harry Kane won't be involved in England's return to Wembley against Greece this evening, and that one there was taken live from TalkSport. It does go on to saying that the Three Lions captain was one of 4 injury doubts Lee Carsley had ahead of the Nations League double header. And this bit right here, I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of it because I've already touched on a couple of the injuries there as it relates to England. So, Konza could be of Manchester United, and also Morgan Gibbs-White as well. And it says here those trio withdrew from the squad already, but Kane stayed at St. George's Park. The other article there, 1-0 USA. What is this? I don't know what you're referring to, IT push. I have no idea what you're referring to. You're going to have to add some context to that one because I have no idea what you're referring to. I'm not sure if you're telling me that the USA are playing and they're 1-0 up. I don't know what that scoreline is in relation to. So you might have to drop something in the comment section. That is why I don't know what you're talking about. But I will turn my attention to the comment section in a short while. So another player there that had to pull out of international duty. And I don't think this one here can be questioned because memory served me well, his injury dates back to the last international break from September. And this one is about Martin Odegaard. I'm sure you guys are already aware, particularly if you're Arsenal fans or if you watch the Premier League. Taken from The Guardian, it clearly says Martin Odegaard facing lengthy break after sustaining ligament damage. And again, I don't think his injury can be questioned. I don't think there's any gimmicks. I don't think it's Mikel Arteta or Martin Odegaard trying to pull a fast one and avoid playing for his nation. He is the captain for Norway, as I've already stated, as is the likes of Harry Kane, Mbappé, Kevin De Bruyne, and Salah for their respective nations. So the article here says Mikel Arteta has confirmed that Martin Odegaard has damaged ligaments in his ankle and will be sidelined for a while after the Arsenal captain was injured on international duty. It also says here, Odegaard missed Sunday's victory over Tottenham in the North London derby, having limped off during Norway's win over Austria last week. With Arteta hopeful that scans would mean he would be back in action sooner rather than later. However, the Arsenal manager revealed before the opening match of their Champions League campaign against Atalanta that the 25-year-old has sustained a significant injury. And then it pretty much takes me to, I think, the biggest story that's being discussed at the moment as it relates to players pulling out of international duty. I guess for context, I could probably start with the leading article there as it relates to one of the biggest names in football. And I am obviously referring to none other than Kylian Mbappé. I want to know what you guys make of Kylian Mbappé. Please do let me know what you guys think of Kylian Mbappé. I'll scratch the surface. I can see what a few football fans think of him in terms of the fans that he has played for at club level, namely possibly PSG. I know I have a few Real Madrid supporters here and there that's giving their opinion on Kylian Mbappé, but it'll be interesting to know what you guys make of the Frenchman, the French captain. Do let me know what you guys think of Kylian Mbappé. So quite similar to the names that I have already named out to you guys there in relation to pulling out of international duty. As I said, I think this one here is the biggest conversation at present because of the profile of the player and also the speculation pertaining to Kylian Mbappé making himself unavailable. This is an article here picked up from goal.com, and I'll share the meat of the article there with you guys before giving you guys my opinion on the current situation of players pulling out of their international duty, again, for a number of reasons, be it personal or due to not being fit. And not being fit could be physically fit or mentally fit. And the headline does say Kylian Mbappé prioritizes Ballon d'Or win over France as captain tells Didier Deschamps he only wants to play in important international matches. I won't read the entire article for you guys. I will just go ahead and touch on as I said, the meat of these reports rather than boring you guys to death. And it does say right here, what happened? Question mark. Mbappé invoked the fury of a number of France fans last week, as to be expected, given the status of the player, given that he is also France's captain. And it does say here, after the Real Madrid star left off Didier Deschamps' Les Blues call-ups for the Nations League clashes against Israel and Belgium. The reason for the 25-year-old being given time off has been due to a lack of fitness. However, fans have wondered if Mbappé is prioritizing Los Blancos as he played 2 games for the side since returning from injury. And you have a French outlet here, Foot Mercato. Hope I pronounced their name right. And it does say here from that outlet, that French outlet, and it states here that they have now claimed that Mbappé has told Deschamps that he will only play in important matches for France as he targets the 2025 Ballon d'Or due to the increasing number of games players have been forced to play. The report has claimed that the Frenchman is keen to stay fit for Real Madrid, regardless of whether the malices continues to grow between him and the national team. So again, I can't see the comment section, but I hope you guys have done the bare minimum in terms of what I've asked you guys to share with me. Do let me know what you guys make of the current situation there as it relates to players, be it your high profile players, your poster boys, whatever you want to refer to them as, pulling out from the national setup. I'm going to go ahead and mute this right here because I'm wary of breaching copyright violation. And adding to, I'm going to backtrack and talk about Kylian Mbappé some more because actually he's my main focus of tonight's topic of conversation. But I'm also going to bring up some further updates there as it relates to another captain pulling out from their international duty, another familiar face for you all, particularly if you support Liverpool, that is, and you should be able to see this article there in front of you. This one is taken from the Athletic, and the headline does speak for itself. It says Mohamed Salah returns to Liverpool early from Egypt international duty, and it does say here very briefly, Mohamed Salah will return to Liverpool after being released early from international duty with Egypt. The 32-year-old forward was given the opportunity to sit out Egypt's Africa Cup of Nations upcoming away qualifier on Tuesday due to concerns over playing on their artificial pitch. Now, I think this is something, I'm going to stop right here where it says the artificial pitch before I read the main or most key important takeaway there from the article. I think where it says here artificial pitch, unless something was said in a press conference as it relates to our very own Michael Antonio. I think that's probably a similar reasons pertaining to why we didn't see Michael Antonio in the game there against Nicaragua, and potentially it could be an even more so of a reason why we haven't seen. I know you guys is not a favorite to some of you, possibly the minority that happens to be extremely loud. Possibly the same could be said for someone like a Bailey, as I've already touched on numerous occasions, given his injury, given the fact that he's been carefully monitored and managed by Unai Emery. I'm suspecting that they do not want to aggravate his current injury or his current recovery period that he's currently going through. Clearly, he's not 100% fit because he is coming on as substitute for Aston Villa, or starting the game and then being taken off just after the 1 hour mark. So it's clearly not 100% fit or 100% back to his usual best. And you could look at the game against Manchester United, the final game there between the two sides, just on the stroke of the international break. Clearly, he had a subpar performance. So that is clearly an indication there that he's not back to his usual best. So there is some similarities there, again, as it relates to players pulling out of their international duties for their respective clubs, injuries alike, as it relates to our very own Bailey and also Martin Odegaard, Harry Kane. Yes, people can say, well, look at Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane's situation definitely can be analyzed, but I think as with most things, you probably take that one with a pinch of salt. For context, just to make it clear, yes, it was reported that Harry Kane came into the England camp, the current camp, with an injury, hence not not playing the first match there against Greece, but he did subsequently play England's last match, which from what I saw, they actually won that game, and I think they needed to do so. Now, as I said earlier on in the live stream, the one headline that is the one story that is grabbing the headlines, which I do want to talk about, is Kylian Mbappe. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and change the current article there in front of you guys. You guys still haven't told me what you make of Kylian Mbappe. I still want to know what you guys make of the Frenchman, the French star for both club. Can I say club right now? Is he starring things up for Real Madrid? I know at least one of my Real Madrid fans doesn't seem, subscribers I should say, doesn't seem to be best pleased about Kylian Mbappe. I won't call his name because maybe he doesn't want to be named, but clearly he isn't a happy bunny with Kylian Mbappe. See what you guys are saying there in the comment section. I am commenting on you are lecturing about engage the viewers more, please. I still don't understand. That's what I usually do. What do you mean by lecturing? Do you want me to sit here and I don't understand your understanding of lecturing. What does lecturing not mean? I think what you need to remind yourself is just because you might know something, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else who is silently watching or the guys in the comment section are on the same page as you. So if lecturing for you means educating the audience, that's not something that I'm going to change. That's something that I've grown my reputation in doing. Is part of my brand, and I'm not going to change it. Sorry. Again, I don't know what you mean by lecturing, but I'm definitely not going to be making no amends where that one is concerned. Max City, big up yourself. I hope you're in good health. Paul Watkins, big up yourself as well. So yes, going back to Mbappe, and as I said, his absence from the national setup has caused a bit of a stir where the French supporters are concerned. As I said to you guys, I think the reaction in terms of any controversies probably not to a great extent, but brushing on it similar to the reaction that Bailey has received. Now, this one here, I think it's down to you guys to take what's been said to us in terms of Mbappe and his reason for not showing up for the current international duty for his nation. Some people have questioned it, namely because he was reportedly spotted out in Stockholm recently, and obviously recently means within this current international window. But the fact that he was out reportedly enjoying himself, it doesn't seem like it's something that bothers the manager there where Deschamps is concerned, or at least not even his teammate. I saw something from Wesley Fofana, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys, and they don't seem to be bothered about Kylian Mbappe clearly letting his head down. This one says, taken from BN Sport, Deschamps defends Mbappe's time off, and it does say France's coach Didier Deschamps made it clear that Kylian Mbappe does what he wants, and that is in his private life, adding to the ongoing drama surrounding the Real Madrid's forward's absence from the national team. It says Mbappe's no-show paired with him being spotted out in Stockholm last Thursday while France was playing Israel became the hot topic once again as Deschamps' press conference. This time it was ahead of France's Nations League group match against Belgium in Brussels. I think his manager, to be honest with you, his head coach there handled this one pretty professionally well, and I don't think I expected anything less from him. He did go on to say there, in his private life, he does what he wants, and apparently he as in Deschamps was apparently visibly annoyed that his captain's absence was overshadowing everything else, like the team's performance or the form of the players currently called up. And I think that one there would definitely irritate anyone. And I think that's just, journalists potentially trying to grab the headlines. I think it's just Traditional journalists at work, I think, I think with most things, as you guys have already gathered, the negativity, I should say, always sells. It's not just something that sells as it relates to the reggae boys, but clearly elsewhere as well, even for a big and successful nation like France. Part of that article also says, I'm not defending him for the sake of it. The issue is that his private life isn't private, and that's not the case for you guys, and you're fine with that, he sarcastically told the reporters. And he does have a point. As I said to you guys there, his teammates at the national setup clearly don't have a problem with him going out and letting his hair down, even though he is not in camp. I'm not sure what people expect him to do. I'm not sure if they expect him to kind of lock himself in a dark room and, don't go out and don't be seen. And I'm not really sure what people expect of someone like your Mbappe. Speaking of his teammate, Wesley Fofana also commented on that report there, which stated that Mbappe was out in Stockholm. And the key bit from what Wesley Fofana said, you guys should be able to see this one on your screen. He says people can do what they want with their free time, and I don't think you can argue with that. I think he's absolutely correct. We as fans, I think sometimes we feel a little bit too entitled. I think we enjoy trying to tell the players what to do, and that's not really something that sits well with me, because I don't think for the most part the players most certainly can't tell the fans what to do, or even in your normal day-to-day life where your work is concerned, where your 9 to 5 is concerned, I don't think your boss can tell you what to do to overly to an extent, that is. So this quote here from this post here from ESPN, again commenting on what Wesley Fofana said. The post there does say that Wesley Fofana has come out in defense of France captain Kylian Mbappe after reports emerged that the Real Madrid forward had been in a nightclub in Sweden on the night of his team's UEFA Nations League win over Israel. And I think I might leave that one on screen for the time being. And then I'm just going to be talking about Kylian Mbappe. I will say one of the things that I noticed when I was looking at a couple of these players there is that much of what I was seeing in terms of players pulling out were the fact that a couple of these players, the majority of them, coincidentally came from the Premier League. They either played in the Premier League or are currently playing in the Premier League. And obviously Kylian Mbappe, that doesn't apply to him, never played in the Premier League, and he's currently playing for Real Madrid in La Liga. But I did notice that worryingly, a couple of the high profile players there, as I said, belong to Premier League clubs. Now, naturally, as it comes to the captaincy and players with the captain's armband turning down a call up, I can understand fans' frustration. I can understand fans um fans being displeased, because obviously when you are a high profile player, that's one thing, but when you're donning the captain's armband, it goes without saying that you are the poster boy and people do expect you to lead by example. But I do think that this for me is the new norm, and I think it's been like that for some years coming, and maybe you guys have picked up on it before myself, but most certainly I think the last 2 international break is definitely stood out to me in terms of this potentially being the new norm. And the reason why I think so is because of what I've already shared with you guys in terms of that hefty fixture congestion there at international level and also at club level as well, with the way that the fixtures come thick and fast for these guys playing in their respective leagues for their respective clubs. So as I said to you guys, I feel like this currently, where the players are concerned, players making themselves unavailable, I do think that this is the new norm. As it relates to Mbappe, I kind of get it. I get it. I get it from where the fans are concerned, because he is their poster boy. He is their main man. He is their captain. I do get it. But I do think that we need to be paying attention pertaining to what's going on, where players' welfare and players' well-being is concerned, and also give some thought into these hefty congested fixtures and what it can do to the players' bodies, and more importantly, not just physically, but for me, more importantly, mentally as well. And when you look at someone like Mbappe, as I said, I do get where the fans are coming from, but unfortunately, I also understand where Mbappe is coming from. I think people need to remind themselves that it's not just about your Mbappe, it's not just about your Kevin De Bruyne, who's at present, I think it's safe to say that he's unwinding on his playing career. I don't think he has long left in terms of when he decides to finally hang up his boots. I think we're probably edging towards that closer and closer. But as it relates to Kylian Mbappe, I think we need to remind ourselves, or I should say, as it relates to players in general, that as much as we want them to make decisions that benefit us as fans at club level, or more importantly at the national level, we do have to also take into consideration that these players have personal goals. Just like you and I, they have personal goals, they have personal achievements, they want to aim for individual accolades. And also, it goes without saying, something that we already know as it relates to athletes and footballers, that they do have a short shelf life, unless you're one of the elites where you can be playing close to your 40s. You're seeing the likes of Messi, for example, and his longevity, and another one of you guys is going the distance and still playing at a respectable level, and drumming up those applaudable stats. Unless you're one of those players, shelf life for players is relatively short. And unless you are a elite, when it comes to your club activity, it goes without saying that anyone can be replaced. And the fans, I think fans at times can definitely be hypocrites, because fans will be the first ones to tell you that no player is bigger than their club. So if that is the notion, that not all fans, but let's say the minority of the fan base, any given fan base, be quick to tell you that no player is bigger than the club, then surely the players do at some point do have to think of themselves. It's a bit of a shame that the ones that's feeling the brunt in all of this is international football. It is their country that appears to be feeling the brunt of those congested fixtures there that we're looking at. And I'm sure, not just for Mbappe, I'm sure for the majority of players, if not all, surely there's no greater honor than representing your country. I'm sure that is something that they all dreamt of as, young boys and young girls growing up. They all wanted to represent their country, and some of them are doing that at present. Some of them are donning the captain's armband. But I think we do need to also be fair with our observation and analysis of these players on pulling out from international games, and really do question why they're doing it, instead of being looking at things from a black and white perspective and being a little bit shallow and saying it's because they don't love their country or because they're too big for their boots. I think we also need to be, whilst that can be true, in some cases, these players are not blameless in the criticism that comes their way. I do agree with that. But I think we also need to look at an elephant in the room. And I saw a couple of you in the comment section on previous live stream, and you referred to it as modern day slavery. And that's something that I can't necessarily disagree with, because I think in terms of the modern day slavery that you're all referring to, I think subsequently it will interfere with national aspirations. It's already doing that. I've already given you guys the examples there with the number of high profile players who have pulled out for a number of reasons, or have turned up to camp, played a game, and then had to be pulled out, or have turned up to camp, not played the first match, and then played the second match. There's a couple names that I've already shared with you guys. But again, going back to the hottest topic at the moment as it relates to Kylian Mbappe, I think he is it's almost like a blessing and a curse when you look at Kylian Mbappe. I think he's one of those players. I don't know. Maybe you guys can throw a couple names my way, but in terms of here and now, I think he's one of those players that bloom too soon. Now, do correct me if you guys disagree with that. You know, we saw what he did at the 2018 FIFA Men's World Cup. He was the star of the show, no doubt. And yes, I mean, France was truly blessed to have multiple stars in throughout their starting 11 and on their bench. Fabulous team to watch, hence them going away with the crown. But as I said, as it relates to Kylian Mbappe, star of the show for the 2018 FIFA Men's World Cup, he's a World Cup winner, had the world at his feet then, still to an extent, even though he's built up a reputation that rubs people up the wrong way. I think you could still argue that he still has the world at his feet. He's played the majority of his club career in his home country of France, now playing for Real Madrid. And I think based on what we've seen in reports that that was a club that he grew up admiring, that was at least one of his boyhood club. And he's also came close at the last World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. He came close to bringing France back to bringing the crown back to France in terms of securing back-to-back World Cup. Didn't happen on that occasion because I think, if you're being honest with yourself, that World Cup there was written in the star for Messi to win, and him and Argentina did exactly that. Saying that to say, when you look at someone like Kylian Mbappe and all that he has achieved, especially at the international level, I think just like you and I, guys, we have to really understand that people's, as much as we might not like it as fans, people's dreams and aspirations can change due to circumstances. Now, I think for him, I'm not saying he's looking at his national team and saying, been there, done that, but in essence, he actually has done it. He's played a pivotal role in bringing France the FIFA Men's World Cup, came close to carrying his team to another World Cup. And if he had done that, he would have done it back to back. And that doesn't happen very often in sports, let alone in football. So I'm not saying that he's looking at the national setup and saying to himself, been there, done that. But he has most certainly achieved what a lot of legends can only dream of achieving. A lot of legends won't win the World Cup for their national team. And, you know, there's various factors why that is. We're not going to get into that because that's not the topic of tonight's conversation. But as I said, he has achieved what many can only dream of at such a young age. And that was what placed the world at his feet. I think that was one of the reason, or could be the crucial reason, why Real Madrid said, you know, he is our man and we will stop at nothing to get him. And as I said, you know, as people get older and as they chalk things off their to-do list or achievement list, be it individual or collective achievements, individual accolades, and so on, I think we're all well within our rights to realign or reassess our dreams and aspirations. Do expect those to change. I think, you know, someone like your Kylian Mbappe is no different to any of us, you know. So yes, that article there taken from Goal alluded to the fact that reportedly he pulled out of the current international break, made himself unavailable because he has other dreams that he's trying to chase. And I'm paraphrasing a couple of those dreams there. Touched on wanting to win the Ballon d'Or, touched on wanting to win the Ballon d'Or. And in wanting to win the Ballon d'Or, it goes without saying that, of course, for him to put himself in a position of wanting to win the Ballon d'Or, he needs to win La Liga, and he also needs to win Champions League as well. And one way of doing that, or the main way of doing that, is being the star player, helping your team to produce the goods on the field of play. And for him to be able to do that, he needs to stay fit. Now, if we look at the football congested calendar, and it is congested, I think we're now at a point where players to our displease are now going to be looking to take a break wherever possible. And I don't think I am in a position to be looking at a player and saying you should not be doing that. Because the unfortunate truth is, when you look at someone like a Kylian Mbappe's career in terms of the national setup, as I said, he's already achieved what many goals can only dream of achieving. He's already come close to securing back-to-back World Cups for France. So I can understand if he might look at the national setup and say to himself, okay, he might want to, I don't know, because the article did say prioritize, and I know that's going to rub people up the wrong way. But again, these players are human beings, and you guys did say in the comment section that we're looking at modern day slavery. So clearly, that's for some of you there in the comment section disagreeing with the thick number of fixtures that's being handed to these players. And I don't think it's something that we should overlook. I think we need to be looking at the current situation where football is concerned, be it at club and international level, and really like asking some questions, because I think what people forget for the most part is that these players are human beings. They are human beings, and just like you and I, you all need to take a break. You do need to take a break. You always get told you need to take a break before a break takes you. And I don't think footballers are any different. Yes, people are going to be looking at their salaries and saying, oh, but they're making a handsome living. It does not matter. They don't pay themselves. And for the most part, I think it's them being paid handsomely is extremely deserving, given what they would have had to go through, given the discipline, given the hard work, given the unrest, the stop and the start, picking themselves up when life knocks them down, recovering from injury, bouncing back to their best, surpassing their best. I think for someone like your Kylian Mbappe, he's probably been doing this for, I don't know when he started off playing football, but let's say with his age in mind, he's probably been doing this continuously for the past, let's say 15 plus years and counting. So he knows his body best. He's not the only professional athletes that's touched on the fact that they need a break. We've had our very own Leon Bailey. I'm going to touch on Leon Bailey and segue and look at other sports as well. Leon Bailey's touched on needing a break. We've also seen what's his name at Manchester City, Rodri, alluding to players potentially striking. And I don't think we can all sit here and be tone deaf and act like we can't see what's going on and continue to look at things from a black and white perspective. Players do need a break. And as I said, with those congested football calendar, I think what we're going to see, if players don't take a break, their bodies is going to take a break for them. And what that looks like to me is burnout. And it's so crazy because we've already seen players for our respective clubs. So be it your Manchester United, your Liverpool, your Chelsea, your Tottenham, your Arsenal, you've already experienced seeing players with burnouts. And we all know how we react to players with burnouts. We all know how fans react to players when they get burnouts. And, you know, if players aren't going to take certain things into their hands, that's where you're going to be leading up. You're going to be seeing more and more players. The more one of the common things that we will continue to see, be it for players that are potentially our star boys at our respective clubs, is you're going to be seeing a dip in performance. And a dip in performance can spell trouble for any player, because fans are not going to sit down and try to rationalize things. They're going to be heavily irrational. They're not going to be looking at things and trying to make sense out of nonsense. They're going to be looking at things from a black and white perspective. And as I said, you know, a dip in performance, it leads to multiple things. The fans getting on your back, the fans being abusive, both inside the football stadiums and sometimes on social media as well. And I think when you get to that point as a professional athlete, those dipping performances and the subsequent abuse that can be expected to come with it leads to a number of things that some of us don't want to talk about. And those things, you know, a couple of things that we've already discussed here on the platform, touching on things like your anxiety. And again, the anxiety can come from those poor performance or string of poor performances. And as with anxiety, I'm not an expert in talking about anxiety, but when you look at anxiety, you can couple that with depression, and you can also look at mental breakdown. So, you know, saying that to say, I don't think we should be too tough on the players, or asking too much of them. I do think that we should be reassessing the questions that's being asked and actually look at the people who are in charge, because I do think that it's high time that we start calling a spade and looking at things the way that they are being presented to us. Again, I will be touching on this, I'm sure, on future live streams, because I think unless we do start to utilize our voice, it's going to come to a point where we only speak when the matter directly affects us. And I'm going to touch on that in a short while. But again, those fixture congestion, for me, I think it does echo greed. And I think it does feel like it's a total disregard for players' well-being. Even if it isn't, it does feel like this, because we are hearing players touch on their mental well-being. We are hearing players talking about needing to strike. We are hearing players talking about needing a break. So all of that cannot be swept under the carpet. And I did touch on the players' salary earlier on, and I touched on it then, and I'll touch on it again, because don't be brainwashed by the players' salaries. The players have no control over what they have been, over what they're currently being paid. And again, yes, they do get paid handsomely, but for the most part, I think much of that is justifiable, given that up until this point, they have had to live a disciplined life. The best of the best, the greatest of the greatest players have had to live a disciplined life from a young boy or young girl growing up right through to the present, or even more so when they're at the top. When you're at the top, you want to maintain that discipline, or maybe you don't want to maintain it, but for your sake, you have to maintain that discipline. Because if you don't maintain that disciplined life and be committed and put in those outstanding performances, it's inevitable what's going to happen to you. These players, again, touching on the salary, which is a conversation that rubbed me up the wrong way, because I think, again, players have no control over their salaries. If anything, it's probably something that should be perhaps applauded, because for some of them, especially those players there that come from those impoverished communities, those lower economic developed countries, they have without a shadow of a doubt beaten the odds. They have beaten being a product of their environment. So if they're now being paid handsomely, I don't think that is something that should be used against them. I think it's something that definitely deserves to be talked about in a positive way. And backtracking on a few things that I've already touched on in terms of these players pulling out, I think, if things continue the way that they're going in terms of those fixture congestion there, it won't be long until it starts to affect us even more so than it already is. And we know, growing up, I always heard about stories about, players who were based in England, for example, and the fact that back then, apparently, those English clubs wouldn't want their players to come and play for us for a number of reasons. Some cited the fact that players would go off and party, and some were pretty much black and white reasons. Some were the obvious reasons of the lot, in the sense that, some clubs back then, it was reported that they just didn't respect us. They didn't respect us as a footballing nation, didn't care about us, didn't want the players to come and play for us. But I think, if things continue on this negative trajectory, we're probably going to be backstepping into the past. And I think we're probably likely to see more and more players just not showing up for international break, not because they don't want to, but at the end of the day, yes, they are an asset to our nation, but they're also an asset to their club as well. And let's not kid ourselves, that is their 9 to 5, simply put. It is their 9 to 5. It is their bread and butter. It's what keeps the family happy in terms of putting that stream of income through their door, and helping to put food on their table, helping to maintain their lifestyle, and so on. And that does matter. I'm saying that to say, I think we as fans, we're venting the frustration at the wrong people. Don't think we should be venting too heavily at the players. I do think, yes, there is a current problem at the moment, but I don't think much of that should be vented at the players. I think we should be asking the right questions and looking at the right bodies and truly asking, like, where do we go from here? At what point are we all going to say enough is enough in terms of that hefty calendar that we're currently looking at? I don't know what you guys make of what's been said so far. But I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say, especially as it relates to Kylian Mbappe. Again, to avoid any confusion, of course, I can understand the French supporters displeased. I can definitely understand that. But as I said, I could also understand where Kylian Mbappe is concerned. Got another article there that I want to share with you guys. I think there's some comments being made there from Patrice Evra, which I don't really understand. Patrice Evra is an intriguing character. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like he wasn't a good footballer. I know what that guy was capable of, given who I support, given the rivalry between my club and his former team, Manchester United. So again, touching on staying on the topic of Kylian Mbappe, a couple of the key takeaways there for context in regards to his absence, which again, as the article does state here, it has come with some controversy. The article here taken from The Guardian, a couple of the key bits there says Mbappe suffered a thigh injury in late September. And this one here, I know people probably link the dots between Kylian Mbappe and our very own Leon Bailey. It does say here Mbappe suffered a thigh injury in late September while the blow was initially predicted to keep him out until the international break. He came off the bench against Lille in the Champions League on the eve of Deschamps' squad announcement. So similar to our Leon Bailey, in terms of injury, playing for his club, playing for their clubs, and subsequently being unavailable for the international break. Rounding that one off, it does also say Mbappe was then absent from the list, but in the final game before the break, he proceeded to start for Real Madrid against Villarreal, and obviously that without a doubt has left the French supporters absolutely fuming. And again, they're well within their right to be outraged. Cue the outrage, and any and every former footballer and pundit in France had an opinion. As you would expect, is their star man. He is their captain. It does say here, not many reflected Mbappe in the most positive lights. Patrice Evra denounced the power afforded to Mbappe by French club Paris Germain and the national team. And Patrice Evra says it is not just Deschamps, but the whole of France that gave Mbappe too much. The former international told RMC Sport, with other pundits speculating Mbappe's priorities now lie elsewhere since his summer move to Madrid. Interestingly, Mbappe Day has been backed by a few key figures, and I'll go ahead and read out the main bit there to you guys. It does say the main France supporters group said that within context, it wasn't normal as a captain for Mbappe to be absent from the squad. The president of the French Football Federation, Philippe Diallo, hope I pronounced his name correct, attempted to dose the fire. It says right here, Didier spoke with Mbappe directly and with the medical staff at Real Madrid and chose not to select him, but it doesn't call into question Kylian's attachment to the national team, it says. See if there's anything else there to share with you guys. I guess I could stop right here. It does also say here Deschamps on numerous occasions has backed up that version of events. And it does state here the complaints about the hectic calendar voiced by players and echoed by Diallo and Deschamps also gives credit to their argument at a time where player welfare is overlooked. The France setup want to show they are listening. So, listening in what way, I'm not sure, but I think that's definitely something that I'm going to be keeping my eye on, as it relates to France, Mbappe, and what they plan on doing in the future. I don't expect them to strike, but they it clearly does state there in the article that they are listening. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from in the future. But I think, going back to what I touched on in terms of this now becoming the new norm, I think one of the, I think, in terms of football, I can see CONCACAF teams, namely teams in the Caribbean and also teams in AFCON. I think we're probably in the future, in the near future, if it isn't already unfolding before our eyes, I think we're going to be the ones, the nations there to be hit the worst. If someone like a Kylian Mbappe can make himself unavailable, if you've got Kevin De Bruyne, who's also made himself unavailable, then I am pretty much bracing myself for the worst to come, as it relates to football played on our shores in the CONCACAF, and more specifically in the Caribbean. And like I said, I don't think this is just going to be a issue there for us Caribbean countries, but I think, like what we've seen in the past, it's going to potentially be history repeating itself. Because I think, it goes without saying, we've seen what clubs think of Caribbean and African countries. It's safe to say that some of them definitely don't respect us, definitely shown that they don't respect AFCON at all, with a couple of high profile managers there commenting on, making some distasteful and totally disrespectful comments as it relates to releasing their players to go and play in AFCON. One thing that really irks me is when these clubs and their managers have the audacity to try and not even try, but state that, paraphrasing, that AFCON should not be played in January. Well, why the hell not? Why the hell not? Let the players go and play for their respective nations. Definitely, there's been some cases there where players have decided to choose club football over their national setup, and it has backfired on them, completely backfired on them. I think I'm going to get up a a article to support that bit of evidence there. And I think this one happened in 2021. I think this one happened in 2021. I think you guys already know where I'm going with this one. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this one up. And I think at the time, members served me well. This one was definitely met with some heavy controversy. I was working for someone at the time, and they have Cameroonian heritage. And let's just say I'm not going to say what was said, but clearly they just weren't best pleased with Joel Matip. He has since announced his retirement. I believe this one came in the coming days or so. Over the last couple of days, I think this one came where he announced his retirement. But he's another high profile player, formerly played for Liverpool, who made the bold decision to not go to the AFCON 2021. And we all know how this one transpired. I think, I don't know him, but surely this has to be one of the biggest mistake that he has made in his football playing career. I think if he could go back in the past, he would probably have made a different decision. Shai Smith, just reach anyway. It better late than never. Absolutely, better late than never. Big up yourself. Happy belated birthday to yourself, and happy birthday to your little princess, Dr. Reed. I like to tell everyone that my friend's a doctor because it's something that I am extremely proud about. As someone who takes a vented interest in sports medicine and the sports imaging subsection of my speciality. Player welfare is a massive, massive thing in my mind. It's also a slippery slope as well. It's a massive slippery slope, guys. As I said, it's not a joke. He is a doctor. He is definitely a qualified doctor. So yeah, you know, if someone in his field is saying that they do, and I'm you know, it makes sense that he would take player welfare as a priority and as a concern as well. It makes sense given his field, but it just goes to show, you know, it is something I think that needs to be taken with the greatest of priority. I'm not sure how football can fix this. All I can see happening in the future is how we're going to be affected, where our football is concerned, where our stars is concerned. We see it every now and then. Even someone like bloody David Moyes. I remember the headline. Someone gave me a newspaper article of David Moyes when he was the then manager of West Ham, and obviously, you know, Mikel Antonio being his player. Yes, I've given credit to David Moyes and what he did for Mikel Antonio career. But I remember when he had the audacity about he said something along the lines, you know, when questioned about Antonio playing for Jamaica, and he was like, you know, something along the lines of taking the mick. Obviously you could see where he's going with that bit of statement. I'm gonna try and see if I can get that one up. Hopefully I can. And that was recent. That was not too long ago when he made that statement. I don't know if I can get the article up. I don't know if the article is available. Don't know if the article is available there, guys. But, you know, saying that to say, clearly that's a manager that I can't speak for him. But when I saw that, I did take offense. I was like, clearly the guy don't rate us. If it was Mikel Antonio playing for England, I don't think he'd be talking about taking the mick. I do actually want to find that article, but I can't find it. Let's see. Let's see if I can try something else to share that article there with you guys. Just felt like with someone like David Moyes as well, there's always so many excuse, you know. Yes, I do agree that a player like your Mikel Antonio, one of those guys there that's unwinding on their career, yes, he does need to be protected. But I think in a situation like that, if he played for England, I really think he'd be talking about protecting the player. Or most certainly, I can't see him saying taking the mick. I'm really trying to find that article there, guys, but it's not looking good. I can't find it. I am trying to find it for you guys though. I'm wondering if because it was handed to me in a newspaper, if maybe it didn't make the online version. Maybe it was just physical copy. Maybe it was just a physical copy there, guys. Okay, I can't. I might try to find it for my next live stream. Yeah, I might try to find it for my next live stream. So again, guys, go ahead and let me know in the comment section. I think I've got a couple more minutes with you all. Let me know your thoughts on the topic of conversation as it relates to these fixer congestion, you know, as it says here, player welfare. Let me know what you make of that. Let me know how you think this one is going to pan out in terms of whether or not you think we're going to be heavily affected at some point in the near future. especially given that we're looking to like scope talent, not even that we're looking, we tend to scope talent from England, right? And this is where we seem to have the issue, even though the issue is widespread in football in general, but clearly we do have an issue that we're looking at um as things stands, where some Premier League football is concerned. I really do want to find that article there, unless someone can find it for me. But I think this one was just this one is probably written for the physical newspaper rather than the online version, hence not being able to find it. I'm determined when it comes to these things, so I'm still here trying to look around and search for it. Although you guys can't see my screen, but I am trying to. Okay, let's try and do something else. Let's see. Is this it? Maybe let's see if there's any. Let's see if this is it. And good evening to those of you who are just tuning in, or maybe it's a good morning. I don't know. I hope you're in good health. Let's see. Yeah, and just little silly little stupid comments that David Moyes used to make as well. Here's another example. I'm still searching for that example that I was sharing with you guys, but he always pissed me off, that David Moyes. And you can bet, get used to seeing more of situations like these guys, especially when it comes to us trying to lure those young and gifted um players born in the diaspora where England is concerned. For example, this was one of the questions there that was asked to him about Mikel Antonio, and obviously this was before he was capped by us. It says here his club manager Moyes said that the striker should not give up hope of another England call up, and he stated there, I only found out about it yesterday and I've not had a direct conversation with Mick. Still holding out. He has a chance to get picked for England. I wouldn't say no to Jamaica, but I haven't spoken to him yet. You would say no to Jamaica, David Moyes. So yeah, guys, given what I've already stated with you guys, I think we're going to be going back into the past there. Unfortunately, I think we're going to be back stepping into the past. Hopefully I'm wrong. I'd like to be proven wrong. I don't want to be proven right. If there's ever a time for me to be proven wrong, I'd like for it to be on a topic like this, where player welfare and not making themselves available, or maybe even clubs playing their usual tricks, persuading the players not to link up with us. And I guess whilst I am at it, another topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about ties into the elephant in the room, where football is concerned, where well-being is concerned. I'm gonna go ahead and bring back up that comment there because it does help me to segue beautifully into the the final part of my conversation. What I am hoping to see as it relates to the fixture congestion and how we can move forward, and also how we can support these players that need to be protected. I'm not sure why football isn't doing it yet. I see football seems to be, they're looking elsewhere, and perhaps that's to do with the number of American owners in the Premier League, but they seem to be looking elsewhere, looking at how things are done in other sports, quite possibly how things are done across the pond, and taking things from how they cover their sports and potentially implementing it into the Premier League. Let me see if I can bring up something for you guys. I saw something the other day about what the Premier League are potentially thinking of doing. I might have to go over to X. Let's see. Let's see if I can find something. Um, let's see. Let's see. I hope I can find it. I saw something here not too long ago. I do want to see if I can get it up from someone who's reputable. And there's a couple guys here covering it. I want to try and see if I can find someone reputable. Right. I promise it's going to make sense. Um, it seems like you guys follow Eurofoot. See, some of you follow Eurofoot, right? So let's just go with Eurofoot. There's a couple of guys there already touching on it. So as I said, I already see the Premier League reportedly looking elsewhere where football is concerned. Again, I'm not sure if this is the influence of American owners, but it's going to make sense. Now, I saw this post some days ago, and let me go ahead and share the screen with you guys and make of it what you will in terms of how football treats our players and whether things are done intentional or unintentional, or whether those in charge truly care about players when you're thinking about players' welfare, players' well-being, and so on. So you should be able to read this one. I've carefully selected Eurofoot because I noticed a few of you guys coincidentally follow Eurofoot, right? So it does say here, this was taken from Mail Sports, so I'm assuming they're the ones who led with the story. And it does say here, all Premier League clubs have been sent 3 initiatives to improve match day coverage: interviews for players who are subbed off, halftime interviews with coach or players, and a dressing room broadcast. Now, I don't know about you, but that does scream that does for me scream American. For example, I can think of how interviews are done in the NBA, for example. So I think they are looking across the pond and they're trying to make their product better. But in trying to make their product better, I also think they can stick a pin in it and also look at other sports and listen to, if they're not going to listen to the footballers, which I'm not sure why they're choosing to not listen to them, then you could most certainly look at sports elsewhere and look at some of sports biggest stars and listen to them and pay attention to their message and also their stance. So I'm pretty sure as it relates to welfare, well-being, one athlete that came to mind in all of this in terms of protecting the players and their well-being, I'm sure it's a story that is familiar to all of you guys. And I think this one came, if I can find the link, this one came back in 2021. I think this was around the pandemic times, right? Because it's 2021, so it must have been around the pandemic times. And it's about Naomi, right? Tennis superstar Naomi, and I'm sure you guys already should be in the loop with this one. And it was when she returned to the US Open for a discussion about mental health, and she did so with the legend Michael Phelps. I'm not going to read all of this in its entirety. I guess I could just go ahead and read the main bit of the article there just to remind some of you guys about what happened and why she decided to take a break. And it does say here, if we go ahead in the main quote, it does say, "For me, coming back here, it means a lot. This room in particular, there were some tears shed, a lot." Osaka, who won 2 of her 4 major championship at Flourishing Meadows, said with a chuckle in the Grand Slam tournament's main interview room, "I feel a lot of joy coming back here. It's kind of like seeing an old friend I haven't seen in a long time." And obviously, as I said, that one there, she shared the stage there with the legend Michael Phelps. And the article is an outdated article, but to continue, it does say Wednesday's gathering, which also included Michael Phelps, a 23-time Olympic gold medalist swimmer, and U.S. Surgeon General Vivek, I think it's pronounced, and Murthy. I don't think I pronounced the person's surname there well, so I do apologize for butchering your name. That was not my intention. Rest of that article there does say that they touched on topics such as loneliness, connecting with others via a body system, the role of social media in mental health struggles, and parenting. And again, to wrap that one up from that article, it does also say here that, if I can just find relevant information there for you guys. Okay, let's just read this bit as well. It does say here, the former number one ranked player has said she intends to return to action at the Australian Open next January. It's definitely been really interesting, the whole process. It felt long and short at the same time when I stepped away. And she, for context, stepped away citing mental health reasons. And it does also say in that article, I just remember watching the Australian Open and being devastated because I've never missed an Australian Open. And she continued by saying, I was just thinking when I was watching Serena and Venus, I was thinking I probably no way will ever play at their age. But sitting here, I'm like, you know what? I might do that. And this one ends by saying Osaka revealed her issues with depression and anxiety when she withdrew from the French Open in 2021. She later took extended breaks from the game to protect her mental health. So again, it's not as if it's a taboo subject that once upon a time, to be honest with you, it was a taboo subject, especially where football is concerned, maybe more so where the men's side of the game is concerned, even more so where our community, the Black community or the Jamaican, Caribbean, African community is concerned. I think once upon a time, it was a taboo subject. I think slowly people are becoming more and more comfortable with talking about their well-being. So yeah, I decided to share those two information there with you guys as it relates to that post there over on Twitter or X, if that's what you guys call it, where it said, all Premier League clubs have been sent 3 initiatives to improve match day coverage. And again, a few of those initiatives there, interviews for players who are subbed off, halftime interviews with player or coach, and dressing room broadcast. Again, it does seem very American. I'm not against it. It'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. But here in England, people are, for the most part, they are extremely old-fashioned, so they're probably not going to be up for halftime talk from players or coaches or wanting to look inside the locker room. I'm sure they're going to be miserable, and for the most part, probably don't like it because over here, people don't really take too well with changes. They're very stuck in their ways, very old-fashioned. But I think it's safe to say that there is some American influence there. Whether that's to enhance the quality of their product, I think that one is probably an obvious answer or debatable at best. But if you can look across the pond, and I'm assuming, I could be wrong, I don't know, I'm assuming they're looking across the pond in terms of helping them to again enhance the quality of their product, then surely you can look at examples where you have these big sports stars who are talking about their mental well-being, or more importantly, you can look at the impact of players needing to take a break, again citing their mental well-being. You can look at what will happen if players' well-being and welfare isn't treated as a main priority. I'm assuming they're probably waiting for push to come to shove of. They're probably waiting for players to start striking, to put their foot down before they start to take these things take matters into their own hands. It does seem like that's the trajectory that we're heading into. And also, I believe this article there that I'm about to share with you guys does come from the NBA, and this one was written, it does say here March 2023, and you can read the headline for yourself. I trust that you can see it on your screen. It says Andre Drummond ruled out of the posting about mental health, and it does say here Bulls center Andre Drummond missed Chicago's game Friday night against the Los Angeles Lakers after he posted on Twitter that he was deleting his social media apps to focus on his mental health. So, there's multiple examples there where football most certainly can look across the pond or just look globally and look at how they can not just, yes, it's one thing, of course, business is business, but in terms of your business, your asset, I think, is your most invaluable product that needs to be taken care of. And in terms of their asset, I'm obviously referencing to the players themselves. It's all well and good bringing halftime interviews to the Premier League. It's all well and good hearing from the players and the managers at halftime, but to be honest with you, I don't really care about that. I'm more concerned about the players' well-being. I'm more concerned about this hefty fixture congestion and how it might take a toll on the players' well-being, especially when those dip in performances start to run its course. And it's inevitable that it will happen because they are not robots, they're human beings. So like your Bukayo Saka, as much as he is loved by Arsenal, as much as he's a hail-end product, as much as he's now donning the captain's armband, if it does happen to be where in a season or two, he's showing glimpses of the Michael Owen where he's just looking like a shadow of his own self, or he's just looking to be depleted and heavily underperforming. It's inevitable that some fans are going to turn on him. It's inevitable that he's going to be getting abused. You've seen him abused by his own fans where the national team is concerned anyway. So I wouldn't put it past his club supporters to go ahead and abuse him. And I'm sure, if I'm not mistaken, that I saw an article where a young black man racially abused Bukayo Saka, right? I'm sure I saw something of that ilk in a on Twitter recently. If I'm not mistaken, do correct me there in the comment section. So I think we're heading towards dark times, guys. I think we're heading towards dark times, and I most certainly think that we should brace ourselves because it could very well have a detrimental effect on where football is concerned for football played on our shores or the Caribbean specifically, because these guys don't care about the Caribbean nations. If they don't care about Afghan nations and Afghan, do you really think they're going to be caring about little Jamaica? They're not going to be giving us no respect. And I think they're going to be whispering in the ears of their players and persuading them and brainwashing them to say, hey, look, we should be your main priority. There's no telling that might be going on at present. And that's not to say to look at players like a Leon Bailey and just assume that his injury is made up. I still don't think that his injuries are made up, and I'll stick by that until being told otherwise or until things are a little bit more crystal clear. But as I said, guys, I'm not trying to, put a downer on anyone, but I think, brace yourself for what could happen in the future as it relates to what I think is now the new norm. If it's happening with France and Kylian Mbappé, if it's happening with Belgium and Kevin De Bruyne, then do bet your last penny that it is going to be happening with our players if it isn't already happening. You've got someone like Boza paraphrasing that he just believes he's not 100% there. And even then, when you have players like a Leon Bailey, he has already cited mental well-being. And I've spoken about this with a close friend of mine. And we just decided we're not going to touch that topic. When we looked at the fact that mental health was cited, it was like, yeah, we're not going to question him. We can't question him because it sends out the wrong message. But even then, people still questioned Bailey and said, he's using it as an excuse and so on. And for me, it's one thing saying that off air amongst your little friendship groups, but when you have those influential platforms, those narratives can't run. Unless there is some truth to what's being said, unless what you're saying holds water, saying that to say for a fact that he's citing XYZ as a excuse or using it as an excuse. And even if that is the case, I think when you have those influential platforms, you always have to be cautious that because we come from a unique community where talking about depression and mental health is such a taboo. Even if we believe that someone is lying, I don't think we should be saying outwardly that they're lying, because that then discourages the normal person like you and I from being brave enough to open up about their mental well-being. So it is a topic that I think is going to be continuing for some time to come. I definitely remember Osaka wanted a break after tennis officials fined her after missing a yes. That's it. I believe that is how it started. And she basically said, paraphrasing, that the reason why she missed the or wanted to miss the post-match press conferences because of mental health reasons. And there goes another example. You can show up to work and not be ready for work. It's happened with me. Definitely happened with me, where I'm getting the job done, but I'm not 100% happy. And because I'm not 100% happy, obviously it just means that I don't want to be there, or it's probably best that I'm not where I used to be. So it happens with normal people like you and I, and it does happen with your Leon Bailey and your tennis sensation, your Naomi of the world, your Andre Drummond of the world, and so on. Many fans and some tennis media were really unkind and begrudging. Yeah, and some of that is probably dosed in racism. And I think that is why our stars, even if they're not stars, just our players, our athletes do need to be better protected, especially where well-being is concerned, where mental health is concerned. Big up yourself, DC. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're in good health. I am late for class, never late. Never ever late. You're here. That is the most important thing. Big up yourself, Cranky. I hope you're in good health. I hope all of you guys there are in good health. I think every sports at the highest level is modern day slavery, says Dan. It's hard to argue with that, isn't it? It's hard to argue with that. I clicked on this comment earlier on and I didn't process what it said. So guys, remember when I said you have some old-fashioned people here in England who would just not be... My friend doesn't live in England, by the way, but this is exactly what they'll be saying. This is word for word. This is exactly what they would be saying. Now, I can't read it out because I don't know who's listening to the program, but you can go ahead and read that one for yourself or check the comment section. They must think because they giving you all the millions, you must plait until you drop down. And that is it. That is it. So this is why I'm saying, I know, for those of you who are just tuning in, the bulk of the topic of tonight's conversation actually centered around Kylian Mbappé, and as you guys would expect, and I'm sure some of you can understand, his fans are pissed with him at the moment because he's not in camp and he's the captain. But as I said, I can't speak for the man, but I think he's already done what he probably set out to do in his young childhood. If you could say to a young Kylian Mbappé, 5-year-old Kylian Mbappé, you will grow up to play for France, you will star at a World Cup. You will be instrumental in your country ending their trophy drought, their FIFA men's trophy drought. You will be pivotal to their success. Then you will go on to potentially come in narrowly close to securing back-to-back World Cup crowns. I think he will take it if you add in, and you would also see yourself play for your PSG, you play for Monaco, you then subsequently go off and play for Real Madrid. He would take that. For him, that would have probably been job done. And who knows, maybe it is job done for Kylian Mbappe where his national team is concerned. And can you really blame him? I'm not sure I can blame him, but I can most certainly understand where he's coming from. He's 25 years of age. He already has the World Cup firmly in his back pocket. Next up, I'm sure, he wants, there's no more Messi or Ronaldo to worry about in terms of the Ballon d'Or. I'm sure he has his eyes firmly set on the Ballon d'Or. And I think we need to be realistic, guys. I'm echoing myself here, but be realistic. They're no different from all of us. Let's not be silly here. We all have individual aspirations. We all have individual accolades that we want to chalk off our list. And if you don't have that in your respective lives, then I think you're doing it all wrong. If you're a modern day slave to your boss, or to the those who employ you, and you don't have individual accolades that you want to attain, then I think you're doing this all wrong. I think there comes a time in our lives where we have to be a little bit selfish for our own benefits, right? And it's debatable. You might not like what he's doing, especially if you support France. I'm sure if this was about Andre Blake, my tone would probably be different, my opinion would probably be different. But I think I would say, you know what, I get it from a human being perspective, from a player welfare perspective. I get it. I might not like it, but at the end of the day, you can't live your life to please me. Players can't live their lives to solely please the fans, because the fans are quick to turn on you. Fans are very quick to turn on you and very quick to throw you under the bus. But Mbappe is just a simple recognition that he needs a break. Rodri, exactly, supposed to emphasize that he's basically played as much. Exactly. And the thing is, I don't think enough people see it the way that you and I see it, Doc. I don't think enough people look at it like that, and people tend to be looking at things from a black and white perspective. And I think much of that is because of the media that we consume. I think, growing up, definitely guilty of being brainwashed. If I could go back now, I wouldn't look at Ashley Cole in the way that I did, growing up and hearing him referred to as Cashley Cole. Looking back now, I just think that is so nasty. It's nasty work. For me now, I'm thinking a black man clearly knew his worth. Yes, it would have been great if Arsenal held on to him, but he clearly knew his worth. And if it was a case that he decided to move to the blue half of London because he wanted a better salary, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You should always want to enhance your salary. There is no way on God's green earth that we're going to move to another job that's paying us less, or staying with your current employer that's paying you less. When another employer is looking to triple your salary, you're taking it and going, pending that their values align with yourself, and their integrity align with yourself. The basic things that you would look out for when you're making that upward transition. So one of the things that I really wish I knew better, and I guess I wouldn't have known better. I mean, I was about 8 years old when I started watching football. So really and truly, what could I have been think? How could I think differently? I guess for us, it's about helping to change the way that the current generation think, and not allow them or ourselves to be brainwashed by the negativity that comes from both traditional and new media, especially as it relates to our Black athletes and Black players. Nothing is wrong with taking a break. There's nothing wrong with taking a break. We all do it. I know some people that when it gets a little bit too chilly outside, they phone up their workplace and they say the boiler is broken down. You're a damn liar. Nothing is wrong with your boiler. Nothing is wrong with your boiler. You just do not want to go to work. And these same people will be looking at Mbappe and saying, how dare you? How dare you lie to your boss and tell them that your boiler isn't working? How dare you lie to your boss and tell them that your housemate has gone out with the keys and you can't lock the front door so you can't come to work? You've done it because you needed to take a break. We've all had to take some form of our mental health break. Actually, let me not speak for you guys. I know that there's times when I have had to do it, sometimes unwillingly because of my blind loyalty. In the past, but that had a detrimental effect on me, and that's something that I'm still having to deal with. So, I definitely sympathize with players when they're saying they need to take a break, and I think we should applaud them. Tell them to take a break. Don't overdo it. Don't do things in great excess because you will be made to pay the consequence. When life unfortunately take a turn for yourself, you'll be made to pay the consequence. Call up your boss and sniff sniff. Listen, the amount of stories that you hear, the amount of stories, but you need it. And who is anyone to judge, really and truly? Yes, the boiler might be in perfect condition, but your mental health is in imperfect condition. And some bosses are not trying to hear that you need a mental health break because in most cases, workplace don't offer mental health days. It's a shame because they should, but we have some horrible human beings who would probably make the most of that, and because of that, the innocent probably can't have wonderful things. It's a shame, but it's just the way that it is. I think what we're seeing is players now deciding to choose themselves. And you know what, it might have nothing to do with the clubs. I know I've touched on the clubs and potentially whispering in the ears of the players, but the clubs probably have nothing to do with it. I think players are probably now at their wits end and are just deciding that, you know what, enough is enough, and they want to take control of their well-being. And if that is the case, then long may it continue. I'm not mad at it, and I don't think you guys in the comment section should be mad at it either. I think we should applaud it. Now, before I close up on the show, if any one of you want to call into the show, I have left the link at the bottom of the comment section. You're more than welcome to do so. My only rule is to keep it respectful. Do keep it respectful, please. I am begging you. Do keep it respectful. So that simply be respect myself and also respect the guys in my comment section, because they're the ones here keeping me company. They are my loyal followers, so do be respectful to them in the comment section as well. Now, if I also believe the gamblers betting on players are also making a toxic atmosphere. They are verbally abusive, making threats. I love that. I love that comments. But where do we go with this? Like, I don't even know where to start, because it's so crazy how, yes, I understand why players are not allowed to gamble. Of course, I understand that, but aren't you in a way, aren't Premier League clubs, whether it's intentional, and I trust that it's unintentional, but it can't just be a case of this. They have sponsors, be it betting sponsors, gambling sponsors on their jersey or around their stadium, and they're only attracting the fans. It's not just the fans that's going to be attracted to that. Naturally, the players are also going to be attracted to that as well. So if you're glamorizing gambling, and then you turn around and these authorities who have allowed you to glamorize gambling within the sport, I don't think you should have the right to find the players. Of course, I understand why players cannot gamble. I get it, but I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with betting sponsors being on the shirts or betting sponsors being around the stadiums. I think you're fueling and glamorizing a dangerous habit. I'm going to stick a pin in it. My doctor friend is in the studio. Doc, how are you? I think you might have.
Chris, my good man, you hear me?
Yes, I am. Happy belated birthday. I know I've said it to you already, but happy birthday again. I hope you live to see many more.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
And also happy birthday to your beautiful princess as well. I hope she lives to see many more.
For sure. Yeah, she enjoyed it, I think. But yeah, we're not talking about my birthday or my daughter's birthday. We're talking about little football, right? So I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that you made mention of. I think the article about Mbappe is a little disingenuous. Like you mentioned, he had an injury somewhere in September, and he had like a game or two out or something of the sort. But knowing that there was a international window coming up in October, I think there's a discussion between this is just what I think, right? It's just a discussion that was had between Real Madrid, Kylian, and France, basically to say, all right, Kylian has been one of the few players who has played a significant amount of minutes for the past 3 seasons. Basically, has not had a moment's rest. Carvalhal is one, Rodri is another one, right? So they've had a significant amount of minutes played over the past few seasons. And I think there's a recognition, having seen Rodri get injured, Carvalhal get injured, I think there's a recognition that Kylian Mbappe is probably at that point where he's probably in the red. And they're saying, really and truly, we can do without it for an international window, maybe even two. Right, so just go and do what you need to do. You chill, rest your hamstrings, put up your foot, something. You get 2 weeks off, and yeah, that's it. So I think the article is a little disingenuous. I think people are upset because again, it's gonna be a situation where they're thinking, yeah, these guys earn a crap load of money, so they should, come at moments notice. When I call, you should come. But sadly, that's not the way how life works. That's not the way how elite sports work. If you can't come there and give your 100%, like Boza, he said it. He cannot come and give 100%. So there's no point in coming to give 70 or 80. These are elite sportsmen, and they're gonna make that decision if they can't get up out of the bed in the morning. It's hard. I mean, how many of them do you know will get up one morning and miss training? We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know how many people miss trainings per week, how many days a week them train. All we know is that on a weekend, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, them come out and then perform and then go back in them bed. So that's just how I feel about the Mbappe thing. I think he deserves the rest. And like I said, I'm really, really big on sports medicine and player welfare. And I think there's a valid conversation to be had about how much minutes some of these guys play. And that needs to be a discussion that is had between players and FIFA. And I don't think FIFA can just sit there and say, yeah, I'm gonna add another Club World Cup, or I'm gonna add this another tournament to your schedule. So yeah, it's a slippery slope, and a lot of people talk about it and may react a little indifferently because they probably don't understand what happens behind the scenes. All they see is a young man or a man then, or a woman, because women play football as well. All they see is these guys or these women doing their thing for 2 hours, and that's it. They don't understand what happens behind the scene. They don't know what happens behind the scene. And that's where I draw the line. So those 3 things that you mentioned, not leave the guys alone, leave the women alone. Let them come off the field, let them go enjoy them life. You don't need to invade in them space again.
You definitely need to come and live in the UK. You fit right in. Said I'm not trying to hear it. Leave them alone.
Leave them alone, man. Yeah.
Just as a doctor, doc, what would be your advice? Like, in terms of how we can or how football can manage what's going on right now, because I think this has been something that has been slowly building up to this point, and who knows, we're probably living through a watershed moment without realizing it.
Yeah, I think again, it's like reason why I say it's a slippery slope is because you have to remember, some of these there's a small percentage of these elite footballers that actually play 70, 80 games a season, or if you want to consider it minutes, let's say 4,000 minutes a season.
Mhm.
It's a very minute percentage of the actual, volume or the masses of footballers that play elite sport or even professional football. Then, so it's about finding a balance between what these guys at the highest level of the game are doing and the guys at the lowest level of the game, in the lowest level of professional football are doing, and find some sort of balance in between. I mean, let's say somebody at the highest level, let's say Roger decide he's gonna strike, and guys at the highest echelon of the game but decide they're gonna strike. What happens to the smaller guys, the smaller fish in the pond? What happens to those guys who are just making ends meet from paycheck to paycheck?
Good point. That's an
So that's why I mean it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery balancing act that you have to sort of get your
yeah,
mind
you're right.
around. Yeah,
You're
sort of get your mind around just to make sure that at the end of it, at the back end of all of this, somebody is winning, not just the man that is playing at the elite level,
yeah,
but also the person that is playing at the lower level of professional game, the person that is playing in Thailand, where or in India, where the professional game is not as elite as in Europe.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's just what I think is a balancing act. It's I mean, if you come to me and you say no player in the world should play more than 3,500 minutes, that to me makes sense. You
Mhm.
know,
And that's
um,
a crazy amount of minutes as well.
yeah, just put it at a level where you expect X player and Y player is going to play. And try not to push it over that. That for me is not going to take away from maybe
Mm.
what a lot of people earn.
You've got me thinking. You've got me thinking of something else. Like when you was rounding off your point there, you got me thinking about potential lawsuits that could come in the future from these players. And suing like the governing bodies like your FIFA, and there might be an argument there for said lawsuits, because I'm sure growing up as young girls and young boys, they would not have been dreaming of playing the hefty amount of fixtures that they're currently playing for. So it's like, quote unquote, you're doing something that you didn't sign up for. Does that make sense?
Well,
It's not being forced.
so Chris, I don't know if football needs another lawsuit. Given everything that is happening, FIFA Pro with the players, and the very congested calendar,
They're rich.
Manchester City Football Club and Premier
Yeah.
League and all of these things. Last time at DR versus UEFA and
Yeah.
FIFA the other day. So I don't
Yeah.
know if football has any more space for another potential lawsuit or some kind of litigation. But yeah, it's obviously a part of the game now, and I think players and players representatives now would be more eager to litigate issues that they find that there's a loophole in the rules that they can go around. And remember, there's so much money floating around in the sport. So
Mhm.
I mean, any small lawyer or even a bigger lawyer would be happy to push through any kind of lawsuit when it come on to FIFA, because
Big
yeah,
money.
yeah.
Big money, big money. It's interesting. I think it's definitely a conversation that I would love to see, bigger platforms hold these type of conversation, because I think that's how you get people to listen and drag their attention. Because I think let's just like you said, we're on a slippery slope. I think you made excellent points, and it definitely gave me something to think about. That, of course, if the likes of, let's say, if clubs up and down the Premier League took a strike, that just means that the average normal person like myself then miss out on a day's worth of pay.
The Sunday League guy, the guy that is playing in non-league, what
As
happens
an
to that person?
can't pay their rent, can't
Yeah.
put food on the table, can't send their kids to school. So yeah, it's the strike, just like you said, that's an excellent point. It is definitely a slippery slope.
I think when we talk about football, we always talk about the elite part, the part where
Yeah.
we see on TV, the English Premier League, the La Liga, the Liga 1, all of those bigger leagues, Italian Serie A, but nobody ever remembers the lower level football. Nobody remembers the League 2
Yeah,
or the non-league or the third division in Spain. Nobody remembers these guys, and these guys are as important as the elite league, because
absolutely.
football, without the football pyramid, we have nothing. All we have is what the Champions League is now, a big league format with you play and you go home, and you don't know what happens after that.
Yeah.
Part of football excitement is promotion, relegation, and the entertainment that each match put out. So we can never forget the guys at the lower end of the spectrum, and expect to just focus on the guys at the higher end of the spectrum. These smaller guys have a say in what happens to their sport, to their daily livelihood as well.
100%, 100%. You're right. You're absolutely right. I definitely can't disagree with you. But it's a sad case, But I think what we can do, just as fans, continue to have these conversations. Hopefully, it spark a bigger conversation, and hopefully, it won't get to the point where the players have to strike. I think that's the only thing we can really hope for, as things stand.
I don't think that will happen. Honestly, I don't think it will happen, because it's, remember, to have a strike, you have to have everybody on the same page, and I don't think all the players might, for the reasons I mentioned before, as well as other reasons. I don't think all professional players would be on the same page, because then you have to think about players who are playing in Costa Rica Professional League. What do they do? How do they feel? What do they say? The MLS is a cash giant, a cash cow, but they don't conform to a lot of the rules and the regulations that the European leagues use, and it's a well-rounded, well-run competition. So are they gonna upset their process just for the purpose of somebody in England getting 10 games less or 1,000 minutes less? I don't think they're gonna sit there and say, yeah, let's do that. You're gonna upset their livelihood.
Unless it's something that's a bit more structured, where you have like those elite players doing a movement, and that movement depends on them. I don't know if whatever they come up with could be something that is done at the start of kickoff, or at the end of the match, or across social media. Something that does not have a knock-on effect on those innocent people there that you alluded to.
Something along the lines of the Black Lives Matters thing, where
Exactly.
they're taking a knee before the start of every game.
Like
But
something like enough is enough. Something.
I mean, it might be something as innocuous as not playing for a minute.
Yes.
Everybody just stand up on the field and a minute run off. And people just stand there wondering. I don't think the broadcast companies would really enjoy that part.
No, they wouldn't.
But yeah, it could be something as simple as that. But again, how do you get? I don't know how many, but I'm assuming that I've heard the number tweeted somewhere, like 90,000 professional players registered to FIFA. How do you get all 90,000 in tune with what you're trying to do? So it's a slippery slope. Again, it might come down to the elite leagues in Europe saying, yeah, enough is enough, and we're
Yeah.
gonna be the ones that stop. But like I said, I don't think people across the pond will settle for what people in Europe are decide to do. So
Yeah, they probably think they're spoiled anyway. So yeah, they probably feel a bit begrudging of them and say
yeah,
no, we're not doing that. But no, I think you're right. You've definitely given me some things to think about. And I think maybe a movement is more feasible, or a movement is probably less of a slippery slope for the players to work with. And who knows, it might actually be centered around mental well-being, because those are some high profile players, high profile
yeah,
captains that's pulling out.
yeah. Mental wealth. It's a mental well-being is it has become so important, and it's now a very highly talked about topic. Because remember in the past where people might decide at the end of the game I could just have a drink,
Yeah.
or and just blow off steam, or so. It's now become something that is so at the forefront of mainstream media, and
Mm,
in the era of social media where everything is just available at your fingertips.
yeah.
It's worth looking at, because I think it has been an understated part of football for so long, that now that is slapping you in the face, people might be thinking, oh well, why are these guys touting mental well-being when they are making so much,
Mm,
so
mm,
I think
mm,
that's part of the issue. One
mhm.
second, please.
Yeah, take your time. No, go ahead. So yes, guys, that is the reason there why I put the link in the comment section. Obviously, sometimes like I'm a little bit cautiously optimistic to drop the link in the comment section because I don't know who's gonna come on. But once I know you and I recognize your name, then obviously I'm going to let you on because I trust that you're not going to do anything that goes against the values of the platform. So yeah, once I'm familiar with yourself, and if I'm not familiar with you, then I'm afraid you just have to drop a message. Once you come into the studio, you can drop me like a private message that only myself can see. The guys in the comment section can't see it. And yeah, I'll let you on, but please do behave yourselves.
Sorry about that, back again.
That's okay, no problem.
Yeah, right. So I was saying that mental health is at the fore. It's been an understated issue in football for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to remember, football is just like you. I think you made mention of it earlier. Football is just like another job, really.
Yep, it
So
is.
it's a day that you decide, boy, I can't manage it today. I cannot face it today. Um, what do you do? Do you get up and force it, or do you say, boy, maybe me just need to take a break today specifically, and then tomorrow we pick it up again? You have
Mm-hmm.
to remember, these guys are human. They go through the same emotions that we do. They experience the same issues that we do. Them have to find rent or mortgage. Some of these guys have kids. Some of these guys have newborns. you know
Yep.
None of these things get taken into consideration when we're thinking about
It's
football.
like missus are upset because you're playing overseas. You're in Europe and she's
It's
at home
up
with the
because
phone.
you went out yesterday, you left, or you're gone, and you have to check into a hotel because that's where the team meets. And then tomorrow you come in the middle of the night, and then by morning light you're gone again. These
Yep.
things are important parts of any human being. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times we sit behind our screen and we don't think about what happens. And it's a lot of things that I think about with regards to football. Just a human element of it,
Yeah.
and the mechanics and the robotics of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do it. So when Leon comes and says, boy, I'm tired, I have no issue with Leon saying I'm tired.
It's so funny. I made reference, but guys, this is the friend that I was talking about because sure Doc don't mind me saying it. Sorry to interject, Doc. We actually spoke about Leon and we were just like, once he mentioned mental health, that's it. We're not even gonna question it. He said mental health, and you better leave that boy alone because who are we to question that?
the way I drew the line with regards to Leon though is where he knew he did something wrong
Mm.
and then double down on doing the wrong thing and getting reprimanded for it. And
Yeah.
it seemed to me as if he didn't accept the responsibility that he did something wrong.
Yeah.
Eventually he did, but initially it seemed like, yeah, him could have, like he said something where him say, coach could have made that one a slide.
Yes. Yeah.
And that for me didn't sit well. So I mean, yeah, mental health is one
Yeah.
thing, and it's totally up to him to decide, what he can manage and how much he can manage. But at the end of the day, when you do wrong, you have to accept your responsibility.
Yeah, you're right. I think just like you said, Leon is definitely not blameless in the way that some fans view him, especially about, paraphrasing about letting that one slide. I can look back and say, you know what, to the Jamaica Football Federation, you have to take some ownership with that, because if you have a circus, people are going to treat you like a clown, and Leon is only getting away with, or gotten away with, what he was made to get away with, not making excuses for him, but him definitely, as I said on previous live streams, the way that he is engaging with the media, doing these interviews with Sky Sports, he sounds so much more mature. People probably going to make, I think the way that he should, and I'm glad to see him interacting with his own media, in Jamaican media, because he's a star within his own right. He's a big name, So it's nice to see Premier League footballer, Champions League footballer doing interviews with Jamaica media. I think my advice to him is to have someone in the room with him, like a representative with him, not necessarily Craig Butler, because Craig Butler is a media trained, with the greatest of respect to him. But I think Leon needs someone who's media trained with him when he's doing interviews in Jamaica, because I think when he's dealing with his own people, he's too relaxed and he's talking like he's talking to a friend rather than being a professional,
Yeah.
And that's, he shot himself in the. You can be a professional and still speak with your mother tongue, so you can still keep the patois, but treat them like you're treating the BBC or Sky Sports. That way, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I think part of that is part of the reason why elite athletes get media trained. While they're in their academies and stuff like that. So just to recognize when some of these guys are trying to trap you into saying certain things,
Yes,
and to recognize when you need to push and when you need to pull.
Exactly.
So I don't have any issues with him mentioning some of the things that he mentioned. I just wanted, I don't care what happens in the back of the room, really.
Same.
All I care about is what happens on the field.
Yep.
Right? I'm not here to sit and judge a man because of what happened off the field. I can't. I don't know his life. I don't know any of these players' life. But when them touch over the white line, I will give my opinion and say, oh, do it. Look like you do it as good as you're supposed to, as good as I know you can.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's one of those things where maybe you just need somebody to guide, and probably out of that, and probably even before that, he has gotten the help, because he's way more mature now.
Way more mature.
Way more mature compared to what he was, how he spoke before. You can see it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's important for him as a professional athlete now, as somebody who is seen as one of the elite athletes in the English Premier League, not even in Jamaica, in the English Premier League, So I think that reflects well on him, and I hope he's sorted out whatever mental health. As somebody who has gone through it, I hope he gets the help he needs and sort out his mental health, so that when he come back and play for Jamaica, man, we have to concern myself about what happened off the field. Let's come and kick the ball and make we win some game, and and be merry.
forget. One moment there, Doc. One moment.
Yeah.
Let me just plug this thing in before it shuts off on me. You said two things there, and I hope I remember exactly what you said. I think I'm gonna touch on. Might need you to remind me. I'm sure you
Mm.
touched on well-being. Before I forget, I think in terms of Leon Bailey's maturity, we definitely have to thank your guy, your former manager, Unai Emery. I think he definitely should be correct giving his flowers for
Mm.
Leon maturity, because he's matured under him massively. And I think, and you can kind of compare the two in terms of Unai Emery helping him to mature, and also being around professionals like your Ollie Watkins. Naturally, that's going to rub off on him, and clearly it has. Being around those elite bit of professionals definitely had its positive impact on him. And it just goes to show, I don't know if you watched my last couple of live streams, but I said there, Doc, to summarize that I think the way that we're now recruiting players like your Mason, Holgate, we're doing that with purpose, with like your Damari Gray, aside from talent, because these are players that they don't get bad press. They're not known to be troublemakers. And when you meet these guys, they're ever the professional. So I think, when a Leon Bailey comes back into the setup, I'm not expecting, and God, Leon, please don't prove people right. I'm not expecting to hear that he's out shaking a leg or doing this or doing that, because I don't expect your Holgate or your Damari Gray to be doing stuff like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Do I think Leon is a bad person? I don't. Do I think
No,
Leon is
he's
a troublemaker? I don't. I think there were things that were
here
happening
and there.
inside the Jamaica camp
Mm.
that he felt that, like I said, he made mention that the coach gonna make it slide. I think there are things that happened that were happening that led him to think that way. And I think maybe we're at a stage now where those things are not acceptable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And people need to be held accountable for their actions. And remember, it wasn't Leon alone.
No, it was
Remember,
not.
it was Tremaine, what name? Trevante Stewart as well. And he
Yeah,
hasn't seen the light of day since then. He was at I think it was Spezia in Serie A, and then
yeah, yeah.
ship him off to some unknown club somewhere. Right. So it
I
goes
read
to
that
show that,
luck.
yeah, it goes to show that maybe we're at a stage now where the whole setup is beginning to evolve, and maybe we could argue that it took too much time. Maybe we could argue that the JFF was asleep, but maybe then wake up now. I don't know, but it seems as if we're at a stage now where it's starting to come together, and this is just, for me, this is what I want to see. Just things going as smooth as they possibly can. For example, like the other day, something as simple as the Nicaragua game.
Yeah.
We assembled in Jamaica and flew to Nicaragua. In the past, it would have been X coming from Miami, Y coming from London, Z coming from wherever, and you're flying to Nicaragua to assemble. No, it can't be something. It seems too disjointed.
Yes.
You come together, and then everybody go to the place at once. Not half of the team gone, so half of the team gone, so kind of thing. So let's see if it continues like this. I think we've had the discussion about the coach and his exploits and how he's well adept at dealing with the media, and I'm assuming that he's also adept at dealing with elite players. So
Yeah,
let's
unless
see
he's
if
lost touch.
let's see if it continues in that form. Yeah.
No, yeah. And the other thing that you touched on there before I let you go is the mental well-being there, because you touched on it with
Mhm.
yourself. I want to like echo that as well, as someone who's like experienced like the lowest lows of my life. I think,
Mhm.
and I'm guessing, mental health, it depends, it varies from person to person, but I think what I've come to terms is once you find yourself in the lowest or darkest part of your life where you're dealing with like anxiety and depression, for me, like once you recognize that dark feeling, it's almost as if it never goes away. But instead, what you have to do is recognize your triggers, recognize what triggers you to feel that way, and learn how to monitor your feelings and how to avoid going into that dark hole. So as it relates to a Leon Bailey, obviously myself and Doc, we're not privy to knowing him, but who knows? It could be a thing where he's still going through whatever he was going through, and people need to understand that mental health and depression and anxiety isn't something that you can just brush to one side. It's
Right.
not a it's not a fluff that you can just huff and puff away. One day you can feel great and the following day you can feel like absolute crap. So, I do wish him all the best. I hope that there isn't no trauma or anxiety attached to playing for his national team. And there might be, because, sorry to him, but it's clear to see against Manchester United, he was not at his level best. Now take that into consideration, people. People bash him when he plays for the national team. And sometimes you can say, the bashing might not be deserved, but his playing isn't up to par. Now, my thing is, why would you want a piss poor Leon Bailey as he is right now because of the injury being in the camp right now for the Nicaragua and the Honduras game? Because you're not going to get the best out of him. So maybe, there's some trigger and anxiety there for him.
Yeah, we don't know. We really, really don't know. All we for me, the only thing I can judge is what Leon does on the field, and I think he's at a point in his career now where he recognized that really and truly, if you think about it, his next contract would be his biggest and probably the last.
Exactly.
It's not infinite. So he recognized that there's the end is coming, even if it's not very very near. It's still there, and you can see it. So he's with a manager, in my opinion, in Unai Emery, who is an elite manager. Right? He didn't. I've had some really bad thoughts about Unai as Arsenal manager, but let's put that aside. He's a man with pedigree, and you can see it in him, and the way his players speak about him. You recognize that he's so. Leon is at a club where it's a club where it's sort of like, I don't know, not a stepping stone, but the perfect club for him. I've been in that community. I went up there with tech bus. This little boy from Jamaica, no know nothing about Birmingham. Me tech bus and walk go on Aston Villa place. And I've been in the community, and I kind of feel how it feels.
Yeah.
And I think it's a perfect club for him.
Yeah.
And let's see if him can get him head down and reach back the form that he was like a couple months ago. And maybe the mental health issues that he was talking about was affecting him, and maybe still affecting him. But let's see if he, like you said, can know what his triggers are. I consider them as red flags.
Yeah.
And I start to know what my red flags are. So, it's about recognizing when those things are coming on and having a plan of action on how to deal with them.
Amen.
And once he has that, him have the world at his feet.
Amen. Amen. Definitely. I agree with that. Well, definitely, having you on tonight's show was a complete surprise. So
I'm listening. I'm sort of listening to most of the shows,
yeah.
but mostly as I go along doing my regular routine stuff. So sort of hard to keep up.
I know you're a
But,
busy.
yeah.
I guys, I want you to get used to this voice that you're listening to. You've already seen him on the show, but I do want you to get used to him because I know he's a busy man. He's a doctor, for goodness sake. So he is going to be busy. But if and when you're able to hear him regularly, trust me, he's going to be a breath of fresh air. He's one of the people that I really do enjoy speaking football with, and you guys have taken a glimpse of that, listened to a glimpse of that, and once you can listen to him in his full entirety, trust me, he's going to make a world of a difference to our toxic space at the moment.
Big up yourself, Chris. Big up.
Big up yourself as well. Any closing remarks?
Make we just seal it up tomorrow and keep it moving.
That was fun. That was perfect. So yeah, Doc, as I said, thank you for paying me a wonderful surprise. Always love talking football with you. And just like you said, hopefully we can go out there and get the all important 3 points tomorrow.
Yeah, actually, once just last before I go.
Yeah.
For the, I know we've had a really tough time in terms of Jamaica football, and I've sat and I've listened to a lot of the discourse and listened to a lot of the thoughts that come out of the social media space as it relates to Jamaica football. I just want to say, maybe it's not easily evident, but there are subtle signs that maybe perhaps Mr. Steve McLaren is not a dinosaur as was once thought. So I've seen a lot of the repetitions and the actions in terms of how we approach a game and our approach play in terms of things that we do repeatedly to prompt the opposition into doing certain things. I mean, there are other phases of the game that we can get better in.
Yeah.
But I think that comes with being okay with the system. I've never seen Andre Blake take so many touches off the ball in all my life watching Jamaica football. Never. And even when him have the ball at him foot, me still a shake. I know that there's a structure. And he knows that there's a structure, and he knows what the next pass needs to be. So I think that's where we're headed, and hopefully it keeps going in that direction.
I like that. Yeah, I think I don't want to drop my gun too soon, but as I said on my last live stream, I can't remember the last time I look at this team and be like, wow, we actually look like a football team. It's weird saying that, but I do think that we actually look like a football team now. We didn't used to look like that, but it's clear to see that something is working behind the scenes, and hopefully long may it continue.
For sure. But let's see. Maybe after the game tomorrow we can have a chat about it. But let's see.
Yeah, I'll message you. I'll message you after the game, or maybe I think it's gonna be a late one for me. So maybe in the
in the morning. Yeah,
I'll drop you a message.
For sure.
All right, Doc. Thank you for stopping by.
Chris. Take care.
You too. Yes, guys. As I said, that is my doctor friend. I cannot wait. For you guys to hear him regularly, because he is a breath of fresh air. When I think of like what's needed in our community in terms of voices, he's definitely one of the voices that I'm just like, yeah, your voice is needed. And I think he will be respected because, he's knowledgeable, completely unbiased. And I think for what it's worth, he's a man. And I think that people tend to listen to men more than women, especially when it comes to football. So I can't wait for you guys to hear what I get to hear on a as regular basis. Sometimes he says things and I'm just like, you've just hit the nail on the head. I can't say nothing more to that. What can I add? That was magnificent. Yeah, I do, as I said, enjoy speaking football with him. So I can't wait for you guys to experience what I experience. This live stream was supposed to be 60 minutes. It has gone over well over 2 hours, which I am not complaining about. It's one of my longest live stream. I particularly enjoyed the conversation where Doc came on. So I think what I'm going to do is try to make this one digestible and chop this one up for you guys so you can give it a rewatch, right? So for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm going to try and make this easier for you guys and give you the opportunity to hear the Kemperor speak about mental health, player well-being, and also our very own Leon Bailey. That is something that I am more than happy to go and seek and find out for you. We are going to be heading into that international break there where the Reggae Girls are concerned. Oh my God. And I think see now I need to be careful. So we're playing France on the 25th. So not this Friday, next Friday. And I need to make sure that I am not working on my birthday, but I should be giving you guys some content on the 25th. Right, so 24th is my birthday. I'm trying not to work that day, but I might have to do something. I might have to get some content done for you guys. I'm hoping that I won't have to. I might just work the 23rd and then take the 24th off. So if you don't see me on the 24th, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just going to be chilling for once. I'm going to try to relax, although I don't know how to relax. So yes, Reggae Girls senior women's national team taking on France on the 25th of October. I'm looking at my phone, guys. The girls should at least be coming into camp by the end of this week. And that is no confirmation from nowhere but myself. I'm just speaking to myself. But with regards to the latest, the pending squad announcement this week, I should think no later than Wednesday. I don't know why it will take Wednesday, Monday. I think squad list should drop on Monday, guys. I'm gonna say Monday is when the squad list should drop for us. As in Monday the 14th. But who knows? The Jamaica Football Federation, they do a lot of wonderful things, but they are still just that fairy odd parent at times. But they are changing, and I'm hoping that they're not hoodwinking me into believing that they're changing. Oh wow, Crystal, I never knew you was. I kickstart the Scorpio season, and there's some of you are gonna be like, I knew you're a Scorpio. In my defense, they are good Scorpios and bad Scorpio. I like to think I'm a good Scorpio, to be honest with you. I only ever sting if I am troubled. If you leave me alone, I'll walk on about my business. I won't sting you, but I've got a sting in my tail, and that you can only get sting or stung if you touch me, provoke me. So yeah, I kickstart the Scorpio season. When's your birthday, by the way? Since I just clicked on your comment, when's your birthday? Be interesting to know. If you guys in the comment section want to drop your birthdays, go ahead. I'll try to make a good note of it. I think I am a good Scorpio. I do believe I'm a good Scorpio anyways, but there are some bad Scorpios out there. I don't think I'm one of the bad Scorpios. I've been told I'm not a bad Scorpio. I've been told I'm one of the good Scorpio, which is why I'm also saying it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm not a bad Scorpio. Got a sting. The 3rd of October, happy belated. Another October person there in the comment section. Happy belated to yourself. I hope that you live to see many, many more. Hope that you are in good health. I hope that you continue to be in good health. And guys, I am going to have to love you and leave you. As I said, I'm going to try and make this more digestible. I'm about to combine 2 words together that wouldn't even have made any sense, but I'm going to make this one a little bit more digestible and just focus on our boy, Leon Bailey there. Okay, so although I'm about to end my live stream, I'm also going to head into the editing booth and do some editing. It's 2:28 a.m. here in London. If you are out and about, I do hope that you make it home safe and unharmed. If you're silently watching, I hope that you're in good health. As with you guys there in the comment section, I hope so. I hope that you guys are also in good health. So players' well-being and the welfare of players, that's something that I do think that we should give some deeper thoughts into. They are human beings. Before footballers, first and foremost, they are human beings. They deserve to put themselves forward, put themselves before work. Let's remind ourselves again that football is their 9 to 5, especially football played at club level. All right. So when you're being critical of them, let's do so with a little bit of empathy. Let's do so with a little bit of caution. All right. And as my friend said, we don't know what goes on in these players' personal lives. He's right. Some of them are new parents. Some of them are dealing with newborns. Some of them are dealing with probably personal health issues with other people in their family. And some of them are, sometimes it's as simple as they're watching their loved ones slip between their fingers. Normal things that some of us have had to experience, right? So they are human beings, trust me, just like you and I. I am expecting to come back tomorrow, Monday, that is, not necessarily to do a watch along, but more so I think I need to give you guys a preview. I've not given you guys a preview of the Honduras game. So I'd look to keep that one nice and short and sweet. Also, at some point during the week, we need to talk about the weekend of action where the Reggae Girls are concerned. Obviously, we're now looking at that international break, but there was football played over the weekend. Bonnie Shaw star in the show where Manchester City is concerned. She came up clutch with a brace against Liverpool. Liverpool, the Reds took the lead there against Manchester City, but up stepped Bonnie Shaw to level the scoring, and she subsequently went on to sealing maximum points for Manchester City in the latter stages of the second 45. Walked away with the Player of the Match award. And when you bag a brace against the Reds in the top tier of women's football, where the WSL is concerned, obviously you deserve to walk away with the woman of the match or the player of the match. Right, guys, again, to reiterate, Junelle, Bromfield, and Noah Lyles set to tie the knots. And in case you missed this one, before I love and leave you, let's give this one another spin with regards to the recent announcement of their engagements.
Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
That was beautiful. All right, guys, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for rocking with me for the best part of almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. Massive shout out to my friend, the doctor, for popping by. That was completely unplanned. Definitely enjoyed chatting with him. Thank you for those of you in the comment section who have sat patiently with me, haven't left my side, and have kept my company. Definitely appreciate you guys. I'm gonna try and get this edit done, possibly depending on how long it takes the upload to be recorded. So I should have it done within the next hour or so. So do look out for that. Better yet, it should at least at the very latest be uploaded onto the platform in time for tomorrow, though it won't take me that long if my internet cooperates. That is, if you are heading home, I do hope that you make it home safely and unharmed. And if I don't see you during the week, I do hope that you have a fabulous week. If I don't see you in a week's time, I do hope that you enjoy the weekend when it comes. And you know how it goes. Until next time, take care.
I'm John Barnes, and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.